All right, so when I say the words street gang, what pops into your head? Because I'm willing to bet that whatever you're picturing is probably decades out of date. Today, we're going to unravel what gangs have become, and it's less about street corners and way more about global crime. Let's dive in. Seriously, think about it for a second. What do you see? Maybe something like West Side Story, right? Turf wars fought with fists and chains? Well, that classic image, that's exactly what we need to get past, because the reality of gangs in the 21st century is a completely different world. And this slide right here, this is the heart of it. That old idea of turf wars has been replaced by complex, transnational crime. What used to be localized social groups have literally morphed into organized, tech-savvy businesses that operate on a global scale. It's a huge shift from being about neighborhood pride to being all about profit. So what does that business look like? We're talking about major criminal operations: drug trafficking, selling weapons, prostitution. And their tools aren't just what you'd think. They're using encrypted phones, the dark web, you name it. They're not just mimicking organized crime. For all intents and purposes, they are modern organized crime. Okay, but just how big of a problem are we really talking about here? Well, the numbers, they're pretty staggering. They really paint a picture of just how widespread this whole thing has become. Let's just start with this number, which comes straight from the FBI. 33,000. That's how many active gangs they estimate are operating in the US right now. And listen, this isn't some isolated big city issue. It's a nationwide problem. And those 33,000 gangs, get this, they're made up of an estimated 850,000 people. That's almost 1 million individuals, so many of them just kids who are caught up in this life. It's not just a statistic, you know? It's a massive human crisis. And I really want to drive this point home. Don't think for a second this is only happening in major urban centers. As the drug trade expands, so does the reach of these gangs. They're actively pushing into suburbs and even small rural towns, places that used to feel 1 million miles away from the stuff. So, who are these 850,000 people? I mean, what is it that leads a person, a kid, down this path? It's time we look at the human side of this whole story. You know, the age when kids get recruited is just, it's heartbreaking. The critical window is between 13 and 15 years old. Think about that. Middle school, it's a time when you're incredibly vulnerable, which is exactly why schools and juvenile detention centers become the main recruiting grounds. And the decision to join, well, it's rarely a simple choice. It's this combination of really powerful forces. You've got push factors, like abuse or poverty, that make life at home seem impossible. And then you've got these pull factors, the promise of safety, money, respect, even a sense of family, that make the gang look like the only real solution. And you know, joining isn't like flipping a switch. It's a process. It usually starts with being a wannabe, kind of hanging around on the edges, trying to prove you're tough enough. From there, you might become an associate, doing small jobs. That can lead to becoming a hardcore member, someone who's all in. And if you survive long enough, you might become an OG, an original gangster, a veteran who commands respect. So we've seen the who and the how. But now let's dig a little deeper into the why. Because these choices, these paths, they don't happen in a vacuum. There are some really powerful sociological explanations for why these gangs form in the first place. Okay, so one of the big ideas is called social disorganization theory, and it basically argues that gangs are a symptom, not the actual disease. They tend to pop up and thrive in communities where the core institutions, families, schools, community centers, are weak or broken. When those pillars crumble, the gang's right there, ready to fill that void. And then there's something called underclass theory. This one is really all about the economics. When young people look around and they see no future for themselves in the legitimate world, no clear path to a decent job, no real opportunities, the gang starts to look like the only viable option for survival, and maybe, just maybe, for a little bit of status. This quote here really says it all. To most of us, joining a gang seems completely irrational, but if you try to put yourself in the shoes of a teenager who feels like all the doors are closed, well, suddenly, the gang can start to look like the most rational choice they can make. It's about survival, safety, and having a place to belong when you feel like you have nowhere else to go. So, look, the problem is huge, it's complex, but here's the good news: it's not hopeless. Not at all. Decades of research have actually shown us what works. There are real, effective strategies out there for both prevention and control. Let's take a look at the way forward. A criminologist named Irving Spurgel developed this really comprehensive model, and it's built on 5 key strategies. The important thing to see here is that it's not just about one thing. It's not just about more police or just about more social programs. It's a holistic approach that includes everything from organizing the community to creating actual job opportunities. This is how it all has to fit together. You can't just pick and choose. The solutions that actually work are the ones that are community-wide. You start by getting everyone on the same page. Then, you step in to help at-risk kids, you create real educational and job opportunities, and you use targeted law enforcement to suppress the most violent offenders. It's about being both tough and smart at the same time. So the research is crystal clear. A piecemeal approach just doesn't cut it. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's not going to solve a problem this big. It takes a massive, coordinated effort from everyone. And that really leaves us with a pretty big question for all of us, doesn't it? Is our community, are we, ready to do the hard work it takes to build a real solution that lasts?